This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Joining us today is Paul Johnson, the CEO of Power Metal Resources. Now, following news from the company that you recently raised £900,000 at a placing at the share price at 1.4 pence with additional warrants as part of that raise. So, you've raised just under £1 million again, Paul. So this puts you in a pretty strong position, doesn't it, cash-wise, to pursue all the activities in the market. It's a positive result.
Yes, Mark, I saw recently comments by a number of investors, actually about other companies, and they were saying how important it was that when a company raises money, it actually talks about what it's going to do with it. So that's stuck in my mind. And we put in the announcement that we're looking to progress this 8-kilometre long gold in soil anomaly at the Tati project in Botswana, which we got the high-grade bonanza grade gold results from the drilling last year. And also to push ahead with our uranium exploration interest in the Athabasca region in Saskatchewan, Canada. So those are the two priority areas to which this money will be applied.
So those are the two priority areas, Tati and Athabasca. Well, let's perhaps talk about Tati first and just remind us where we are on Tati. There was, of course, that bonanza result that came out towards the end of last year there. What's the current status at the project and what are the plans?
Okay, so there's various elements to this project. We have an 8-kilometre long gold in soil anomaly. We tested that anomaly with reverse circulation drilling, a first campaign that found 3 metres of 5 grams a tonne gold in the northwest of the property near surface. I think that was about 9 metres down hole, so really near surface. And then we did some further sampling and mapping, and we acquired another license to cover the Cherished Hope gold mine in the southeast of this anomaly. And we did further reverse circulation drilling last year, and that's where we got the bonanza grade of, I think it was up to 47.1 grams a tonne over 1 metre. These are 1 metre composite samples that they take from the property. We did 490 metres in total of drilling. None of it was below, I think, 55 metres. So this is all shallow drilling and knocking out some pretty outstanding gold grades. So we've tested so far about 175 metres of the 8 kilometres, a lot to go. And we released on the 15th of December a program, an exploration work program at Tati, what we wanted to do next, which is further soil sampling. We wanted to do trenching, geophysics and reverse circulation and diamond drilling, testing much more of the 8 kilometres and also going deep for the first time with the diamond drill program that we're looking to undertake there. So a fully comprehensive look at this major gold anomaly. We're looking to be able to confirm a significant gold deposit. Not sure if the word discovery is appropriate because we obviously know it's there at the moment, haven't just discovered it, and we're working on it to prove up size and scale.
Okay, so this is all planned and costed and getting underway imminently? Okay.
We will, I jumped in there, didn't I? We will, of course, communicate to market with developments on that programme, as always. It is for the market we know, and for us, it's particularly exciting as a project. It's one that we brought forward very quickly since our original acquisition in 21, and we think there is enormous potential there. So obviously we want to push on with that work.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's talk about Athabasca then, of course, the uranium side of Power's portfolio. Athabasca, fairly new-ish addition to the portfolio here, assembling a portfolio of uranium projects. When it comes to uranium, it's a very interesting space at the moment. I interview a lot of people, but I don't speak to many uranium companies because, quite simply, there are not that many out there, particularly in London. One particular company in Australia, Bannerman Energy, is a very well-known company who've got a good project over in Africa, and they're very, very bullish on the prospects of uranium in the future, given what's happening in the energy markets and the green economy shift. So, I mean, I think it's a very good commodity to be exposed to and looking to get exposure to. Obviously, you feel the same. So what are the plans here to find some uranium over in Athabasca, which is a very prolific area for, of course, that commodity?
Well, it's been a long road with uranium for me, Mark. I did my first uranium deal with Metal Tiger back in, I think, 2014 in Tanzania. And I was a little bit early, in fairness, but the timing isn't wrong now, I think. Athabasca is an area that we've been looking at since probably early 21, when we were looking at interesting areas. Back then, there was more ground you could stake. It was open ground. Less interest because the sector, the uranium space had really suffered. It had its peak in 2006-7. The trauma with Fukushima in 2011, people have been turned off to it. So we looked at the ground, we picked the areas we wanted, and then in September 21, we went for it and we started building the portfolio. That was the time when the Sprott Uranium Trust were buying up the commodity, and it was a real buoyancy in the background was coming to the space. Now, of course, and literally every day we see articles talking about which country is building its nuclear power generation. We see a diminishing level of how can I put this? The available supply from various sources because of a number of different global reasons. And we're in a situation where there's been limited capital deployed to the development of mines. There are a number of jurisdictions in the world where it's becoming politically insensitive to rely upon in the future. So there's a definite demand for new, safe, secure sources of uranium, merely to meet the requirements for power generation and also to substitute out some of those supply sources that have become inappropriate in this new geopolitical environment that we live in today. So Athabasca is safe and secure. It's one of the best, the hottest territories for uranium exploration. We secured the grounds before the great land grab. There's very few areas in the Athabasca region now which are available, attractive areas. I mean, no doubt in due course, people will be staking anything. You know, a field with a cow in the middle will become attractive for uranium, I'm sure. But we've been able to select and pick those areas. We've got in the portfolio 840 square kilometres of ground over 12 projects, 2 of which are in the vend-out process to uranium energy exploration. 10 we hold 100% ourselves. We're looking for more, and we're looking to get active on the ground with exploration programs as soon as possible. One of the challenges in our space is because it's starting to get hot in uranium, there will the crews, the ground crews, the resources that you need to get out to site will start to be booked up quite quickly. We were nervous about that. We wanted to be able to get those resources booked up and in readiness for the spring, summer when the snow melts. And that's what this financing enables us to do.
Okay, well, of course, spring, summer is when the season starts over there in Canada for exploration on the ground. So that is the plan, to get active on the ground and get all the plans lined up prior to then and active over the summer.
That's it. No, it's very simple. Just to keep going, keep pushing ahead, making the work that we do is quite important to increase the valuation of each project, each package, because the more technical information you gather, you obviously comply with any spend commitments, but you also add considerable value as you do work. And that's what we've pretty much done across our entire portfolio, including uranium as a business.
Okay, well, let's talk then about you're actively drilling at the moment over in Australia, in Victoria. How is that program going? That's, of course, a joint venture with Red Rock Resources there, isn't it? Drilling the old Baringa mine.
Yeah. Okay. So Australia in Victoria is a land footprint of 1,867 or thereabouts square kilometres of granted licenses, about 15 in total. Within one of those licenses, we have the Baringa gold mine, a former high-grade working gold mine, which produced hundreds of thousands of ounces, 10 grams a ton gold, I think. But that was a long time ago. We've got quite detailed information on the mine workings there, and we are targeting extensions of the mine workings. So where they didn't dig out effectively, in simple terms, we're putting the drill holes through there to just assess the level of residual gold. We're very confident. We think the property could have quite a very large amount of residual gold, and that's what we're testing at the moment. So we'll get those results out to market, I hope, quite quickly. The drill process is going well. The assay testing process is all set up. We are aware that people get a bit frustrated with the time it takes on assay testing and getting results to market. It has been a bit of a global problem for various reasons, affecting many different companies. In the case of Australia, I suspect it's going to be quite a slick and efficient process.
Okay, excellent. So potentially a fairly rapid route there to some juicy results, maybe on some capital, some cash flow coming into the company from existing workings. Is that fair to say?
Well, okay. So you have got the possibility of using local facilities for processing. You have that with the Tati project in Botswana. You have that with the where we're drilling in Victoria Goldfields. But at the moment, the focus is just on the exploration side in Victoria and making sure that we gather that information as quickly as possible. It is, or it was, the number one area in Australia to produce gold from 100 years ago. And then they all shipped over to WA, Western Australia, with the Kalgoorlie shift, as it were, and we're quite excited about that. They certainly didn't take all the gold out. Certainly at depth, there is potential for quite dramatic discoveries, as we saw with the Fosterville gold mine, where they were really producing a high grade, a large amount of gold, and making some fantastic discoveries. Lots of pictures of big nuggets, major nuggets coming out of the ground. So it's an exciting territory to work, and one where we're just going about it in a disciplined way by doing our drilling. It's our second program, not the first into Barenga, and we're really, I am very much looking forward to the results coming back.
Excellent. Well, the market can keep an eye out for them in the hopefully not too distant future, as well as the plans for exploring in the Athabasca and, of course, the getting underway of exploration at Tati there as well. So that's 3 projects. I do want to get a bit of an update on Molopo as well. I know we talked a lot about that in 2022. What's the latest here? You were doing a lot of exploration. Are you still awaiting some of the results to come through?
Yeah, very much so. We are on the 5th hole now, which is hole T23 target. This is I've got to remember where I am now. Southwest of the licensed footprint. We are a fair way from the original holes up in T16 target and T114. It's a big project, 1,700 square kilometers, and so far with this drill program, we've tested 1, 2, 3, 4 targets. So it's quite a major exercise for us. Hopefully we'll get T23 finished pretty quickly, that hole into there. It's running really smoothly, so I'm looking forward to that, kind of wrapping up, as it were. We have a pretty vast amount of data review. We've got technical core review, looking very carefully at the core. And that core is being, of course, processed and samples sent off for assay testing at the labs. And that's in process. We samples at the labs and also samples being prepared to go on the way. We have downhole geophysics data, the original geophysics data, all sorts of information that's being brought together at the moment. And it's an exciting program for us. One thing as a company, and I'm sure for investors, is that there is a great degree of excitement when you build into these programs and you launch them. And then, of course, you realize it's actually a lot of work as you go through, and it does take some time. It's not a quick, 500-meter program or a quick 1,000-meter program. It's been a 4 target, multiple camp location, a deep diamond drilling program that's gone extremely safely and successfully so far. And we're, just looking forward to getting all that data back and then coming back to market. So in a sense, our excitement hasn't changed in the slightest. Definitely not. But the work levels, of course, you have to focus on and get the job done.
Okay. Well, of course, as well as the headline, the big sort of assay result, let's say, the big grade that might come through, which will of course excite everyone. There's a lot of exploration been done here by POW, isn't there? A lot of drilling's been done. You've mentioned there all the data, so this all goes into your sort of data room, which then helps to build a picture, and other interested parties are going to be perhaps looking at that more than a big discovery.
It's well, everyone wants the big discovery, which I understand. You know, I can still remember Aurelian Resources in Ecuador where they hit a big gold discovery. I think they went round the other side of the hill or mountain to drill, and then they got fantastic grade over long intersections. And the share price went up 100 times. I think it was 100 times in 8 months. Nova Nickel in Australia, Western Australia, their share price on the publication of assays was up 100 times in 8 months, 5 cents to $5. Revolutionary for the business. There's a great video on with Mark Bennett, the CEO, managing director, talking about that discovery and the process, and how, you know, you go from being people don't believe to all of a sudden people are out visiting site, offering you vast amounts of money, share price rocketing. It's a great story. So yeah, we all want that. We also want the situation where we're building a data set that's attractive to for third parties to look at. Of course, because partnerships in the UK market, we don't see many decent joint venture type partnerships. So the market always respects them and gives a valuation uplift when you're able to bring in a party to help you. That, of course, with a large project footprint, is something that any sensible business would consider on the right terms. We've talked about this before. It's no good just signing up with a big firm. If you're a low priority, you need to make sure that that big firm is committed to spending money in the project's development in the early days, and not just leave you sat there having to explain to shareholders why nothing has gone on. So yeah, there's that angle as well. There's so many different angles with these large projects. The most important thing of all is demonstrating that you have the geological model in place that you thought was there. And the presence of the mineralization is a big positive for us, you know, with the nickel sulfides. We're obviously pushing to get those big slam dunk outcomes as well, because, you know, selfishly, I'm a large shareholder in Power. So it would be great to see a major increase in our price along the way.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Paul. That brings us up to speed on a few of the projects there. Just finally, just on sort of raising money and having cash in the bank, I think certainly the London markets tend to frown a little bit when a company goes to raise. It's not seen in the best light, whereas I think the opposite is the case over in the TSX North America, for example, because, of course, mining companies need money to go and explore, particularly juniors, and the North American investors see it as very exciting when there's cash in the bank to go and actually explore. So, I mean, how important is it to having like an ongoing, buoyant amount of working capital in a junior explorer such as yourself to have it always available?
Yeah, I think it's vital. I don't think we are banks in the sense that we should be sat with vast amounts of cash and not do anything with it just to make the directors feel comfortable. There's something about it when your feet are held to the fire in terms of how you react and how you respond. And I think having the need to justify your existence to market almost on a daily basis is a good thing, and therefore be able to raise capital. I think there is an anxiety amongst the investor base in the UK with regard to financings, and I understand it. Often they're done at quite significant steep discounts, which means you could buy a share for 10 pence on the market one day, and the next day find out that a whole heap of others have bought it at 6p. And that's, I think, sickening, actually. And that's why, as a policy, I've tried and succeeded so far, but, you know, we've been fortunate to succeed to keep the pricing of financings at the market there or thereabouts when we do them. You have to have the ability to go and continue with your work. We could sit still and not do very much, but it's not our policies of business. You know, you buy shares and financings are on market, Power's active, and that's what I've always said we will be. Okay. Also, if you're dealing with any third parties who are looking at your business, expressing an interest, if that's happening, it's far better to do that. And they know that you have the ability to go and raise the capital that you need. because you're simply not going to get the best engagement if people think you are struggling for money. In our business, we have a building balance sheet alongside warrant conversions. We have quite large amounts, £4 million worth of equities, listed equities that come out of a full lock-in in July. Doesn't mean we're going to sell them. It just means that we have an ability to access capital from other sources, which means, of course, makes life a lot easier, generally speaking, from a financial perspective, because people will give you money far easier, much better terms when they know you have an alternative route to get it. It's just a simple human dynamic. So, very happy to do the raise because it brings that capital into the business. Very much love the times when you don't have to raise because you already have the capital in the business to do what you need to do. And actually very confident going into this 2023. What a miserable 22 it was on so many levels. 21 wasn't that good either, in fairness, but 22 was a real write-off. And if there's a sense of bubbling optimism, gold is up significantly over the last 2 or 3 months, or 2 months. Copper's up, nickel's up, I think zinc's up, uranium's bubbling. All the factors are in place for a decent resource run. So hats off to the people who have stuck with the sector, taken a great degree of personal risk, I'm sure, in many cases, to do that. And I hope everyone gets their rewards in 2023.
Well, Paul Johnson, thank you very much for your time, the CEO of Power Metal Resources.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.